I was staying at a budget hotel just off the highway, the kind of place you book when you're too tired to keep driving. It wasn't my first late-night stop, but something about this one felt different the second I stepped inside. The hallway carpets were damp, the air smelled faintly of bleach and old smoke, and the front desk clerk barely looked up when I checked in. He slid me the keycard and muttered, "Room 214, don't prop the door open." I laughed it off at the time, thinking it was just a weird policy. The room itself was fine. Beige walls, a humming mini-fridge, the faint buzz of fluorescent lights overhead. After driving for 10 hours, all I wanted was a hot shower and sleep. I set my bag down, locked the door, and turned on the bathroom light. The mirror caught my attention first. It wasn't cracked or dirty, but the glass had a strange, cloudy sheen as if it held a layer of fog, even though the room was cool. When I wiped at it, my handprint lingered a second too long before fading. I brushed it off literally and turned on the faucet to wash my face. The sound of rushing water echoed sharper than it should have, bouncing off the walls like I was standing in a bigger space than the small bathroom allowed. That's when I saw him. In the mirror's reflection, a man stood behind me. He was tall, thin, and slightly hunched, wearing what looked like a dark, old-fashioned suit. His head tilted just enough that I couldn't make out his face, only a pale blur where eyes and a mouth should have been. My breath caught in my throat. Ispun aron nothing. The bathroom door was closed. The space behind me was empty. My own ragged breathing was the only sound. I turned back to the mirror. No one. Heart pounding, I searched the room under the bed, inside the closet, even behind the shower curtain. Empty. I tried to convince myself it was a trick of the light, maybe my own reflection distorted. Still, I locked the bathroom door before stepping back into the room, just in case. Sleep wasn't happening. I left the TV on for background noise, flipping through channels until the static became a low hiss. Around 2 a.m., exhaustion finally started to win. I got up to brush my teeth, hoping the routine would calm me. The bathroom light flickered as I entered. My reflection stared back at me, perfectly normal until it didn't. As I raised my toothbrush, the reflection lagged, moving a fraction of a second behind me. My stomach dropped. I froze mid-motion. Slowly, carefully, I lowered my arm. The reflection followed but again, just slightly too late. Then, in the corner of the mirror, behind my own image, the man appeared. Closer this time, I could almost make out a face now. Hollow eyes, a mouth stretched into a crooked grin. His head twitched in small, jerky movements, like a broken puppet. I turned around so fast, I nearly slipped. Nothing, just the silent bathroom. When I looked back at the mirror, my reflection was alone again. But the toothbrush I was holding white, with a blue stripe, was missing from the reflection's hand. The shock sent me stumbling backward, heart hammering. I dropped the toothbrush. It clattered against the sink. The reflection smiled. I swear to God, it wasn't my smile. My own face stayed frozen, but in the glass, the reflection's lips curved upward, slow and deliberate. I bolted. I grabbed my bag and keycard and ran into the hallway, not caring that I was barefoot. The corridor was silent, except for the low hum of the exit sign. I pounded on the elevator button until the doors opened, then slammed the lobby floor. The night clerk looked up as I approached the desk, panting. I need another room, I stammered. His eyes flicked to my room number on the keycard. He hesitated. You stayed in 214. Yes, just give me another room, please. He leaned forward, voice barely above a whisper. You're not the first. Before I could ask what he meant, a sharp ding echoed through the lobby. The elevator behind me opened on its own. Inside, I saw it. My reflection, no. Him standing in the mirrored back wall of the elevator, smiling that same crooked grin. The doors slid shut before I could scream. I left the hotel within minutes, driving until the sun came up. I didn't ask for a refund. I didn't even look back. But sometimes, late at night, when I catch my reflection in a dark window or a bathroom mirror, I swear I see a shadow behind me. And every time I turn around, it's gone. I was traveling for work, driving between small towns on a week-long assignment. After 8 hours on the road, I pulled into a modest roadside hotel late one evening. It wasn't fancy, but it looked clean and well-lit, and all I wanted was a shower and a few hours of sleep before hitting the road again. The lobby smelled faintly of lemon cleaner, and the receptionist, a tired-looking woman in her 30s, handed me a keycard for room 312 with a polite but distracted smile. I barely noticed her eyes flick briefly to the wall of framed photographs behind the counter pictures of staff. Maybe, but I was too tired to care. The room was standard. 2 double beds, a small desk, beige wallpaper that had probably been there for decades. I tossed my bag on the nearest bed, showered, and collapsed fully clothed onto the mattress. The air conditioner rattled in the corner, but the white noise helped me drift off. The next morning, I left early for a meeting in a neighboring town. When I returned that evening, the first thing I noticed was the faint scent of lavender. Housekeeping had been by, which wasn't surprising, but something about the smell felt oddly heavy, almost metallic beneath the floral sweetness. 10 Primera, Sadoble. Italiano. On my bed, tucked just beneath the pillow, lay a folded piece of paper. No hotel stationery, just a scrap-aligned notebook paper, yellowed at the edges. In neat, deliberate handwriting it read, "Don't stay another night." Beneath the warning was a name. A chill crawled up my spine. I looked around the room. My suitcase was undisturbed. My toiletries lined up exactly as I'd left them. The door had been locked when I arrived. Maybe it was some sort of prank by housekeeping. I went down to the front desk, note in hand. The receptionist's woman, as the night before, took one look at it and paled. "Did someone give this to you?" she asked. "No," I said. "It was under my pillow. I assume a housekeeper Marisol." Her expression tightened. "We haven't had a Marisol here in years." The way she said "it's quiet," but firm sent a cold knot into my stomach. "Maybe it's a new hire?" I offered. "Weekly?" She shook her head. "No one by that name works here. Please, if anyone knocks on your door tonight, don't open it. Call the front desk immediately." Her words left me rattled. I thought about leaving right then, but it was late and pouring rain outside. I told myself it had to be a strange coincidence. Maybe a former employee left the note as some kind of twisted joke. Back in my room, I double-locked the door and wedged a chair under the handle. I tried to distract myself with TV, but every creak of the building set my nerves on edge. Around midnight, as the wind howled outside, I finally dozed off. A soft click woke me. I sat up, in the dark, heart pounding. The door handle was turning slowly, carefully, as if someone didn't want me to hear. I grabbed my phone and whispered into it. "Front desk. Someone's trying to get in." The receptionist's voice was tight with urgency. "Stay on the line. Security is on the way. Do not open the door." The handle stopped. Silence. Then, from the other side of the door, a woman's voice. "Please," it said softly, "you need to leave." No, it wasn't threatening. It was pleading. "Who are you?" I managed to whisper. "Marisol," the voice said, almost a sob. "He's coming." My blood ran cold. Before I could respond, footsteps echoed down the hallway, heavy, purposeful. The handle jerked violently, once, twice, then went still. Security arrived minutes later, but the hall was empty. They reviewed the camera outside my door. Nothing. No one had approached my room at any point during the night. Shaken beyond belief, I checked out before dawn. The receptionist didn't question my early departure. She only slid the receipt across the counter and said, almost under her breath, "Safe travels." I drove until the hotel was a fading memory in my rearview mirror. But sleep was impossible. Curiosity nodded me. Hours later, from the safety of a crowded coffee shop, I searched the hotel's name along with Marisol. The first result was a news article from 7 years ago. A housekeeper named Marisol had been found dead in room 312. The prime suspect, a male guest, was never caught. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. I don't know who or what left that note under my pillow, but I do know one thing. If I had stayed another night, I might not be here to tell this story. It was just past midnight when I decided to grab a soda from the hotel's vending machine. I'd been driving all day, and the quiet hum of the roadside inn felt oddly comforting until I stepped into the elevator. The lobby button glowed faintly under the flickering fluorescent light above me. I pressed it and leaned against the wall, listening to the cables groan as the elevator began to descend. Halfway down, the car shuddered violently. The floor indicator above the door flickered and went black. I felt my stomach lurch as the elevator slowed, then stopped with a soft, echoing ding. The doors slid open. I expected the warm light of the lobby. Instead, I was greeted by a dim hallway I'd never seen before. The carpeting was an outdated green pattern, the kind you'd find in a building that hadn't been renovated in decades. A weak yellow glow spilled from buzzing ceiling lights. The panel inside the elevator listed the Hotel SA floors 1 through 6, but whatever floor this was, it wasn't on the panel at all. The indicator remained dark. A faint draft wafted in from the hallway, carrying a musty, metallic scent like old pennies and damp concrete. I told myself it was some kind of maintenance level, maybe a service floor, but curiosity tugged at me. I stepped out. The air felt colder the moment I crossed the threshold. Every door on the hallway, heavy wooden doors, like the guest rooms upstairs, stood slightly ajar. Not wide open, just a few inches, enough to create a line of blackness between the door and the frame. I called out a tentative hello. My voice echoed unnaturally long, bouncing down the corridor and fading into a hollow silence. No answering footsteps, no hum of air conditioning, no sound at all. I moved forward cautiously. The doors creaked, almost imperceptibly, as if something inside was shifting. My heartbeat quickened. I glanced back at the elevator, its doors still open, a weak rectangle of safety behind me. As I passed the first room, I felt a subtle vibration beneath the carpet, like the faint rumble of distant machinery. I leaned toward the gap in the door. The space beyond was pure darkness. No furniture silhouettes, no glint of light, just a black void that seemed to swallow the hallway glow. Something shifted inside. A dry scraping sound, like fingernails dragging across wood. Premeta jerked, bake heart pounding. From the next room, a soft sigh drifted out. Then another from farther down. One by one, the rooms began to exhale long, drawn-out breaths that weren't in sync, as though a dozen unseen occupants were stirring. Panic rose in my chest. I turned back to the elevator. The doors were closing. I lunged forward, slamming my palm against the metal just as the gap narrowed 2 inches. They slid open, reluctantly, as though resisting. I stumbled inside and hit the lobby button again and again. The doors finally closed. The elevator groaned to life, but instead of descending, it jerked upward. The indicator flickered back on, cycling through numbers I didn't recognize. 7-8, higher than the hotel even had. The overhead light dimmed to a sickly yellow. The walls vibrated with a deep, rhythmic thrum, almost like a heartbeat. I pressed every button on the panel, but nothing responded. My reflection in the brushed steel doors seemed off, a fraction behind, like it was thinking before it moved. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the elevator shuddered to a stop. Ding. The doors opened to the same hallway, same buzzing lights, same slightly open doors. But this time the elevator's interior light flickered violently, and I swore I heard whispering, soft, frantic voices overlapping in a language I didn't understand. A shadow shifted across the far end of the corridor. Something tall and thin slid silently from one doorway to the next. I smashed the closed door button until my thumb ached. The doors crept together, agonizingly slow. Just before they sealed shut, I saw one of the doors down the hall swing wider. A pale hand, long-fingered and gray, gripped the edge of the frame. The elevator jerked violently downward. I staggered, slamming against the wall as the car plummeted. My ears popped, the cables screaming above me. Then silence. The elevator stopped with a gentle bounce. The doors opened, I was in the lobby. Bright lights, soft music, the faint chatter of the overnight staff at the desk. I stumbled out, shaking. The night clerk looked up, startled. "Sir, are you all right? You're as white as a sheet." I turned to point at the elevator, but the doors had already closed, humming softly as if nothing had happened. I told the clerk everything about the unmarked floor, the open doors, the whispers. He listened quietly, then frowned. "This hotel only has 6 floors, he said. "And that elevator? It's been out of service since yesterday. Maintenance locked it." I looked back, toward the shaft. The elevator sat quietly, doors sealed, a yellow out-of-order sign hanging from the panel. I checked out within the hour and drove through the night. But every time I hear the soft chime of an elevator, I feel that same cold draft on the back of my neck. And I never ride alone after midnight.